What makes someone a balanced leader? Hey there, this is your friend and guide, Caroline. On today's Balanced Leader, my incredible guest and I share strategies to help you lead with confidence, stay resilient, and avoid burnout. This isn't just about leadership, it's about thriving holistically in mind, body, and spirit. Ready to recalibrate? Well, let's dive in and create the balanced life you deserve. Welcome to the special bonus episode of Today Balanced Leader. I'm your friend and guide, Caroline, and today we're diving deep into leadership through uncertainty. Not just managing the external chaos, which we can't do, we have no control over, but guiding your team, your business, and yourself through fear, instability, and economic challenges with a heart-centered leadership lens. So right now, leaders across Canada and the US are navigating a complex web of economic shifts, possible trade tensions, possible rising costs, and then workforce concerns. And if you import goods, rely on a stable supply chain, or simply want to keep your business and team thriving, you might be feeling the weight of these challenges. So today we're looking at uncertainty from both a business and people perspective. And we'll be talking about solid historical examples of leadership in times of crisis. Why reinvent the wheel, right? Why not look back to see who and what and how we can work through this? Practical steps to control what you can control. Don't worry about the stuff you can't control. What can you control? Communication strategies to keep your team engaged, because communication is going to be key. Creative approaches for businesses struggling to stay afloat. And then, of course, realistic methods for navigating those economic and trade processes of uncertainty, right? We don't know what's going to happen. So whether you're an entrepreneur, a leader in a corporate role, or simply someone trying to keep things afloat, this episode is going to give you the clarity, tools, and confidence that you're going to potentially need moving forward with purpose. Here's the truth. The cycle of overwhelm and frustration isn't going to fix itself. It's not your inbox, team, or workload. It's how you lead your time, energy, and priority. Inside my new program, Elevate Your Leadership Presence, you'll learn to stop reacting, set boundaries that command respect, and create space for your goals and growth. This isn't just about surviving, it's about transforming how you lead. Join the waitlist today through the link in the show notes. See you there. And I'm doing this ahead of time because the fear is starting to come, right? People are starting to feel like things are happening, and we've got all sorts of emotions coming to the table front. So I want to provide you leaders with some tools and some takeaways that you can integrate into your days moving forward. Okay, so let's first talk about understanding uncertainty. What is it and how does it impact us? Well, uncertainty is more than just not knowing. It actually disrupts stability, safety, and trust. And it creates fear because it takes away our ability to predict the future. What this might look like in business is you potentially could have trade disruptions and tariffs, which means costs will rise, suppliers will shift, and revenue becomes unpredictable. There may be regulatory changes. Import-export rules can fluctuate, and we know that the compliance is unclear. And then there's economic instability, right? When those things happen, there's that instability where it could potentially impact interest rates, inflation, and currency fluctuations impact pricing. Let's look at it from a people lens, because I talked a lot about, there's a lot of emotions out there. I've been, careful not to let it pull me in, but at the same time, need to understand what people are going through so that I can help. So what I'm seeing that this feels like for people is I'm seeing anxiety. People are questioning whether they're going to still have jobs, particularly in the car industry, right? There's fear. What if I can't afford to pay my mortgage or rent moving forward because I don't know what's going to happen? I could lose my job. I might be feeling stressed. I might be stressed on how can I lead when I don't even have answers myself? How do I guide my team? And then being overwhelmed. I don't even just know where to start. I have no idea what's going to happen. I don't know how to be proactive because I don't want to put all this energy into it and then it not come to fruition. But at the same time, I want to be prepared and ready. And if you feel this way, if the weight of uncertainty has left you drained and disconnected, I want to invite you to something truly special. My upcoming virtual retreat is designed for leaders like you who need a moment to pause, to reset, and to reclaim your energy. It's not about adding another to-do to your list. It's about giving yourself the space to breathe, to reflect, and to realign. Because when you show up fully for yourselves, you show up fully for your team, your business, and your life. If that resonates with you, head to my website to grab your spot. The link is below in the show notes, and give yourself permission to step away from the chaos and into renewal. So I want you to know that these emotions aren't just feelings. They're also going to impact productivity, engagement, and physical health, right? Because when we carry that negative, it's going to impact our health. When we talk about productivity and engagement, well, if I'm not getting answers from my business on whether I'm going to have a job or what I need to do, then I'm not going to be as engaged, but I'm also maybe not as productive because I'm so worried about things, or maybe I am checking the news and the highlights or talking to people to see what their opinion is. As the leader, you may not be able to fix everything overnight. In fact, you can't. You can't fix everything overnight. But you can shape the way people experience uncertainty. So now we're going to shift. Let's take a look at what we can control and how to lead effectively through uncertainty. So I talked about it already, controlling what we can control. What are some of the key leadership strategies we have in this? Well, when the world feels out of control, strong leaders focus on what's within their power. Let's break it down. 1, managing the business side of uncertainty. What could this look like? Well, scenario planning and risk management. Conduct a what-if scenarios. Brainstorm together. An example might be, if tariffs increase by 10%, what's our move? What does that mean is going to happen? And you don't have to have one solution. You can come up with a number of solutions. You might identify alternative suppliers or partnerships. You might be looking to purchase within your country so that you don't have to worry about tariffs. You might start to renegotiate deals that you've got with people. And then you might also consider diversifying products or markets to reduce dependency. Because if you put all your eggs in one basket, you know what happens. I don't have to tell you. So maybe look at diversifying. And this is a great way to bring your team together, to brainstorm, to say, listen, we can only control what we can control. Let's figure out some solutions, worst case scenario. We may not action all of it, but at least we've brainstormed it and we've got some ideas of potentially what we can do. And we can start to reach out to our key partners, clients, customers, and start to get a feel for the direction that you're going to need to pivot. Okay. The next one under control, what you can control, is strengthening financial resilience. And what I mean by this is prioritize cash flow management. You want to build those reserves and reduce non-essential expenses. You might have to take a look. Maybe non-essential isn't enough. You might have to go up a level, right? I can speak to in the past when things have been tight and the cash flow management was in position, we would reduce the amount of flights people could take to visit different parts of the business or customers. We would do all sorts of things to try and reduce our costs and make sure our cash flow was strong. Again, I talked about it just a minute ago. Negotiate with vendors to secure better pricing or payment terms, right? Like, let's have those conversations because they also need to do the same thing and prepare for the potential inevitable, right? And then we want to explore hedging strategies to protect, against currency fluctuations. What might that mean? So if you're in Canada, which is where I'm at, and you're purchasing a bulk of your product from the US, and you know there may be tariffs on that, where else could potentially you look and start to hedge those strategies so that you're not dealing with tariffs, customs duty, extra shipping costs, potential currency exchange rates, right? You want to start to explore on a broader level what are our options and what could we start to do and start to network with people to look at what that looks like. The next one is ensuring operational agility. What do I mean by that? Well, create backup supply chain options. What are your options? Are there cheaper ways? Do you renegotiate now? What does that look like? Because again, you don't know if there's going to be extra costs that are implemented and put onto the transportation system when they cross borders or whatever that looks like, right? You want to reevaluate your pricing models because you know you're going to have to pass on some cost strategically, but maybe not all at once. Maybe it's gradual. And then you're going to want to leverage your technology and automation to make sure that you can improve efficiency to keep that flow going so that you're not in the situation, or hopefully not in a situation similar to COVID where the shelves were bare. Now, thinking outside the box, if your business is struggling, you need to brainstorm new revenue streams, right? Are there new services you can introduce, potentially digital products, or maybe start to build some new partnerships? And the best way to, do that is get client feedback. Find out what they are struggling with, and then can you shift your offers or your product offers to meet their needs? We already talked about renegotiating contracts and pricing. So whether it's suppliers, landlords, partnerships, now is the time to discuss better terms. So for an example, a landlord, if you've got a lease that's coming up, is it better to renegotiate and solidify that today as opposed to waiting to potential impact from what might come? Find alternative materials or supplies. So if costs are rising, can you source more affordable options? And then strengthen company culture. Key, a strong, engaged team will help navigate tough times together, right? And they'll feel like they're a part of it and they know what's going on. All right. So that's controlling what you can control. Let's look at how we're leading people with stability and confidence. Because great leaders provide that psychological safety in uncertain times. And we know psychological safety is part of Maslow's hierarchy. It's the main, right? Safety is main. Everybody must have safety in order to feel everything else. So how do we do that? Don't hide. Acknowledge the fear and address it proactively. So instead of dismissing concerns, say, I know a lot of you are worried about how these trade changes impact us. Here's what we do know and what we're doing about it. Could be the brainstorming session, right? Give them a little bit to know that we know there's something going on. We are trying to pivot best we can and remain resilient. And so we're starting to contemplate options or solutions in case it comes to fruition. Because at the end of the day, we want to validate their fears and then provide a clear next step. The next thing you want to do is communicate with radical transparency. Employees and colleagues, don't need perfect answers. They need honesty. Trust me, they can read through the BS. They really can. I've seen it. An example of that would be instead of saying, we're fine, don't worry, we've got this, try, we're adjusting to what these potential new regulations might look like to the best of our knowledge. And while things are shifting, we are committed to transparency and you'll have updates. And maybe you say those updates are every Friday, every Monday, whatever that looks like, with what's coming out and potentially what they need to know. You want to give your employees a sense of control. How do we do this? So ask for ideas on how to reduce costs, improve efficiencies, or pivot strategy. They're the feet on the ground. They are going to be able to give you ideas. And this is a great time to leverage their skill set and make them feel like they've got purpose and they're making a difference. Because what you want to encourage that upskilling or cross training so employees feel empowered and not replaceable. Doing our best, right, is what we need to do for our employees. And then we want to model stability. So think about it. Think about your leader. Put yourself in the shoes of being worried. Watch your leader. If your leader panics, you're probably going to panic too. People mirror their leaders. So stay solution focused, even when uncertainty looms, because we can only control what we can control. Okay, so I promised you some historical leadership examples in times of crisis. So here we go. Let's look at Franklin D. Roosevelt, who guided people through the Great Depression and World War II, right? He used fireside chats to reassure the American people. He, in those chats, acknowledged struggles, but focused on steps forward. And how you can apply this today is have regular, clear updates with your team and foster that trust through communication, not silence. Another example is Angela Merkel. She guided her country through a European financial crisis, but she stayed calm and made data-driven decisions, focusing on long-term strategy, not short-term panic. And so think about applying that today, right? Base your decisions on data, not fear. And then prioritize stability over knee-jerk reactions, because knee-jerk reactions will cost you. All right, let's look at Howard Schultz. He supported Starbucks post the 2008 crash. He recentered on a mission and values of customer experience and rebuilt that employee engagement and trust through honesty. I can speak to that and can attest that that open door and that honesty of hearing people out and not being defensive, just hearing how people feel and being an active listener as a leader, and then being vulnerable. Tell them you don't know. Tell them, we're doing our best, or this is what we're working on. Like I said, bring them in when you can, right? Because if you are struggling, you want to always return to your core mission and keep employees engaged and invested in your vision. All right. So what are my final thoughts through moving forward with resilience? Well, as you know, uncertainty isn't going anywhere. We've seen it, right? We just lived through COVID. This is just another thing that we're going to pivot through. But how you lead through it determines your success. So by focusing on controlling what you can control, keeping your team engaged, and making those strategic, thoughtful decisions, you become the leader people look to for guidance. Call to action for you. If you love this episode, I'd love for you to share it with other leaders. Tell me in the comments, follow our show. But if you're struggling with leading in uncertain times, it's okay. Let's talk. because I'm offering a free leadership level up call, and that will help you create a strategy that supports you both in your business and with your people. So look in the show notes for the link and book the call. I'd love to help you through it. But in the meantime, stay resilient, stay empowered, keep leading with your heart. Until next time, have a beautiful day. Thanks for tuning in to today's Balanced Leader. If you want to go even deeper, then visit my website at carolinebaird.com, find some free resources, and look at all the different ways that I can support you to become your best self. Remember, change begins with just one small step. It's those tiny actions that start you on the path to achieving your dreams and finding balance. And as always, life is an experience. So take a moment to enjoy the journey and appreciate the progress you make along the way. Until next time, keep taking those small steps, savor the journey, and lead with courage and authenticity. This is Caroline reminding you to stay bold, stay balanced, and keep moving confidently towards your dreams.